What's going on, people? Welcome back. OnlyFacts Sports Podcast, EP.11. You know what it is. We're back. How you feeling? How's things? How's life?
As good as it can be under the circumstances.
Well, what's the circumstances?
Still living in under oppression. You know, I'm an oppressed person.
That's why I say free all the oppressed peoples. I know you don't believe in that, but
I'm an oppressed person.
Yeah, but I want all oppressed peoples to be free.
But here's the thing, you are an oppressor. That's the thing.
Well, how am I an oppressor?
Because you're my oppressor.
Nah, don't put me and you in press in any type of situation.
You're like a how can I say? Like you're
Calvin Candy.
Yeah. And I'm
Samuel Jackson's character. I can't remember his name.
Whatever, man. Let's go on.
Like I say, free all the oppressed peoples, innit? Do you know what I'm saying? For those of you that believe in that, do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, you sip your tea, blood. You know what it is already, blood. I mean, you only support.
Let's not talk about this.
But
let's not talk about this because it can turn real left for you, bro.
For me?
For you?
For me? How?
You really want to have this conversation?
Should we come back down to it when they come back to it? Yeah. Alright, cool. Obviously, if you're new here, welcome to the channel. If you've been here before, welcome back. Nick, Shane, talk sports, boxing, football, all that good stuff. First thing, big news. I don't know if it's quite breaking news, but big news in the world of boxing. Callum Smith versus David Benavidez.
Yeah, I mean, Callum Smith done an interview, I think it was last week. He basically said it's pretty much close to being signed. I remember a few weeks ago, or maybe a month ago now, David Benavidez' manager said it's between Callum Smith and Anthony Yarde. I remember Eddie Hearn done an interview saying he's in negotiations with PBC for that fight. So, yeah, that fight should be announced or should be, if not done, like close to being done.
I think that's a great fight. I think it's a great fight for a couple of different reasons. David Benavidez obviously made that move from 168 to 175, and he's got a solid record, good resume, but could be better. We're still moving through the gears.
Definitely.
And what he's done, his last fight was against David Morrell. What he's doing is he's really entertaining because he's winning fights, but coming through adversity to win fights.
And of course, he was down in that fight.
And he was down in that fight against David Morrell. So against David Morrell, he goes against someone who's young, up and coming, very heavy-handed. Now he's going up against someone who's
experienced,
at the other end of their career, at the back end of their career, but very experienced, very durable, very difficult. Callum Smith, it's possible to break him down. We've seen him broken down by Canelo, but it takes a lot to break him down. And Beterbiev. But Canelo, it was like a prime Canelo and probably a prime Beterbiev as well. Outside of that, we've seen him against Buatsi.
That was his last. They say you're as good as your last performance, and that's why the fight's such a good fight.
Yeah.
Because based on the last performance, we've seen enough vulnerabilities in both guys, but we've seen enough game in both fighters. So we know that Callum Smith, he's game. He's always going to be there for a fight, and he's been at the elite level. Whereas Benavidez hasn't been at the elite level, but he's beaten everybody underneath that level.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, well, once you beat Callum Smith, there isn't anybody else there.
Yeah.
So I think the way that David Benavidez has been moved has almost been perfect. And this is literally the perfect opportunity, because if Callum Smith was coming off a loss to Buatsi, then I'd be like, it's a bit shaky. But because he's coming off a win, and Buatsi was also a guy who was highly touted to be fighting at the elite level eventually. So for me, I feel like the way they've match made it is perfect. And I actually feel like you learn a lot from fights like this.
100%. 100%. Like you say, Callum Smith, very, very durable. What we've seen in his most recent fight, very difficult to break down still. Great chin. He's actually doing some stuff, landing great counter punches, which we don't normally associate with Callum Smith. We associate Callum Smith to be... He's got the size as well. David Benavidez has always been a bit of a size bully, but we associate Callum Smith to be kind of head down, coming forwards, and a bit of a battering ram. And, you know, this time, he's boxing on the outside, landing counter punches, eating a lot of punches as well. You'd lean towards David Benavidez, younger, fresher, but it will be a long night's work for him.
But you can see methods in how David Benavidez wins that fight. But you also see methods in how Callum Smith wins that fight, because it isn't that crazy to think that Callum Smith probably hits as hard as Morrell, and not only that, he's got that experience. I think what Morrell was missing in that fight was just knowing how to manage a fight, pace a fight. Whereas Benavidez, he can bring you into deep waters and really just outwork you.
Yeah.
He can probably do that to Benavidez as well, but I'm just...
To Smith.
He could probably do that to Smith as well, but I'm just a bit like... I'm intrigued within the matchup because Callum Smith's always he's always had a good game plan against... Well, he didn't have a good game plan against Canelo, but his argument was that he was weight drained or whatever. But if Benavidez does beat Callum Smith, I mean, Benavidez is... he's right there with the...
Are both these guys fully acclimatized to 175, or are they still getting there?
I would probably say Callum Smith's more acclimatized. I think this has been his fourth fight now at 75. Plus, he's fought the best at 75.
Yeah.
Benavidez hasn't. Benavidez actually hasn't fought a puncher at 75. Whilst Morrell's got power, that power has pretty much been at 68. He hasn't fought anyone at 70.
That was Morrell's first fight at 75.
Yeah. No, second fight at 75. And his first fight at 75, he didn't get a stoppage. So the fact that he was able to drop you, there's enough vulnerabilities for Callum Smith to take confidence from that. Enough vulnerabilities in Benavidez, I mean.
Yeah. No, it's a good fight. Like you say, it's a fight that can go either way. We'll definitely be live for that, so make sure that you subscribe to the channel. And
what do you think about that in relation to like Anthony Yarde? Because there was speculation that Callum Smith was supposed to fight Anthony Yarde as well.
I think that David Benavidez is the hotter prospect. He's the bigger name. He's more of a crossover fighter because he's got that American audience. And if we're being frank, Anthony Yarde didn't look great in his last performance against Lyndon Arthur. And that's someone that he smashed out in 4 rounds previously, and someone that you'd think was going to be pretty easy work for Anthony Yarde. It's so difficult to benchmark Anthony Yarde for where he is. He seems to have, we constantly talk about his trainer, Tunde Ajayi, and whether you rate him or not. Bill Haney wants him in Devin Haney's corner, and I don't really understand why. But to me, Anthony Yarde has a lot of the right skills. You look at Man United and say, okay, cool, they finished 17th or wherever they finished in the league, but the team's not good or whatever, but the team isn't 16th, 17th bad. Do you mean that's a failure of the manager to deploy the team in the right way? And in the same way, you're looking at the skill set that Anthony Yarde has. I think that Anthony Yarde is limited, but other people constantly tell me that Anthony Yarde is good, or he's world level, or he's fringe world level. But we just don't see the skill set that he allegedly has being deployed the right way.
It was a speculation whether like Callum Smith fights Yarde, even Benavidez fighting Yarde.
Yeah.
And I'm just in a weird place right now, because for me, I'm like, Yarde didn't look good in his last performance. Boatsy lost to Callum Smith, and Benavidez looked good against Morrell. So we're like, match them two up, and then the winner gets the winner of Beterbiev and Bivol. But from a Yarde's perspective, it's very difficult because you're like, you can't really go into a fight with Boatsy right now because he's got no momentum behind him. But you had Callum Smith on the table and you had Benavidez on the table. Now you have neither.
Yarde and Boatsy are eventually going to fight each other, and what's going to happen is what both their promoters are waiting for was for them to be on top of the world and then make it a mega fight. The reality is they're both not those guys. They're not better than Bivol and Beterbiev. Bivol and Beterbiev looking like Bivol Beterbiev 3 is going to happen. They're not going away anytime soon.
Well, Bivol definitely isn't.
There was a time when they thought that those two would never fight each other, I think, before Turki came along. So it seemed like there were paths for both Anthony Yarde and Boatsy to go. And the problem is we will see that fight, but the fight will be completely devoid of steam.
It could be like a Amir Khan, Kell Brook thing.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
They've just taken multiple losses against other guys, and then by the time they fight each other, it's not the same.
100%.
The difference with Amir Khan and Kell Brook is they actually became world champions.
Yeah, they were elite at times in their career. You can make the argument. Amir Khan I never personally rated, but it's difficult to downplay his accomplishments. Do you know what I'm saying? Kell Brook, I think, was an elite fighter in his time. These guys are not making it to the elite level. Like, okay, fair enough. You lose to Bivol Beterbiev, people give you grace for that. But then you go and lose to a Callum Smith. Callum Smith's a really good fighter. You know, he's been the elite level 100%. But we got to remember, Callum Smith, when we look at Callum Smith fighting Benavidez as well, and we look at the mix that he was in with Boazzi, maybe Yarde, Callum Smith was considering retirement a year ago. Like, how much of the desire is there? Because Benavidez, he ain't considering no retirement.
Facts.
No matter how hard the fight gets, he'll go out on his shield. Does Callum Smith do that if the fight gets really tough? Now, he's a scouser and he's a very tough man, Callum Smith. So I imagine once he's committed mentally to getting in the ring, he'll commit.
I think the fight against Boazzi would have given him a lot of confidence.
100%.
I felt like if he went to the reservoir and there wasn't much left, then he probably would have called it a day. But when he was able to get success and realize, okay, I can actually still compete because maybe Boazzi isn't at the elite level, but if he's built up in Callum Smith's mind that he's at the elite level, that when he goes to the world that there's something left, then when he fights Benavidez, that also might be the case as well.
I think that's a clear sign of that, the fact that he goes to fight Benavidez and not going to fight Anthony Yarde. Anthony Yarde is a decent size money fight. Maybe not as much money as Benavidez, but you can make some good money with that big fight. It's
an easier fight.
Probably the two biggest names in 175 in England, Yarde and with Boazzi coming off of a loss. Yarde and Smith. Big domestic fight. Probably an easier fight than Benavidez. But Benavidez is probably the road to go back to world level.
I mean, Benavidez is a world champion right now.
Yeah.
So I get it. I genuinely understand it, and I actually respect both of them. I'm just like, if I'm Anthony Yarde, what do I do? Like, what do I do? I just sit on the bench? Because to be fair, you didn't turn no heads after the fight against.
If you're Anthony Yarde, do you roll the dice and just go for Boazzi right now? Try and beat a Boazzi that's coming off of a loss and try to reignite your career.
Your stock is gone. Because here's the thing. You beat Boazzi. I feel like the Boazzi fight, you're in an instant lose-lose. I hear
you, but that's the only name that can really generate you any money right now.
I hear you, but the reason why I'm saying you're instantly in a lose-lose, because let's keep it real. 175 is relatively shallow. You know, you've got Boazzi, Yarde, Callum Smith, Benavidez. That's underneath the Bivens, Beterbievs. You also still have David Morrell. You think outside of that, you're not going to fight Beterbiev or Bivol. But if Benavidez fights Callum Smith, the top four is pretty much gone.
That's what I'm saying. I know it's a lose-lose, but any other you go and fight Dan Aziz, that's a lose-lose. You go and fight, at least take the best lose-lose opportunity. The question it always comes down to with Anthony Yarde is, can you beat this guy? Do you believe you can beat him?
The issue for me, if I'm Yarde, I'm doing whatever it takes to get me in a position to fight the winner of Benavidez and Callum Smith.
And what fight gets you in that position?
I feel like it's not even about what fight. I feel like it's a case of Benavidez already had you on a radar. You need to look good in your next fight regardless of what fight it is. Do you know what I'm saying? And I feel like a Boazzi fight, let's say Benavidez breezes past Callum Smith and you have a tough fight with Boazzi. The narrative then becomes Callum Smith beat Boazzi and you struggled with Boazzi. Do you know what I'm saying? And I beat Callum Smith. I know boxing isn't like 1 + 1 = 2, but that's how the narrative will be perceived. Whereas if you had a easy fight where you knock someone out in 2 rounds, even if it's like a lower level of opposition, let's say we're looking at like a Craig Richards or something, or Willie Hutchinson, for example, and you knocked out a Willie Hutchinson. Let's say, for example, you've done that. You can then go, you know what? Give me Benavidez and the winner.
It's still a lose-lose though, because if he goes down and everyone fights a Willie Hutchinson and he can't beat him easily, then what? All of this is still contingent on the same thing. Can you win?
True.
Do you mean the contingency?
But the raising the level of opposition doesn't increase your chances of winning.
When you say raising the level of opposition, I don't know at this point if Boazzi is a level above Lyndon Arthur. Lyndon Arthur's fought at world level and elite guys. Boazzi's never walked in there of an elite guy. The closest he's been to is a over-the-hill elite guy, and he couldn't beat him. So I don't know that it feels almost disrespectful to Lyndon Arthur to be like, well, Lyndon Arthur's a level above Boazzi. Maybe he is, but who's to say? How can we say that with any confidence?
Yes, it's a great point. There is no you can't say it with confidence. So it's a great point. I mean, regardless, Benavidez versus Callum Smith is a great fight. The winner should.
Craig Richards has been in there with Bivol.
Yeah.
And Lyndon Arthur's been in there with Beterbiev.
Yeah.
And Boazzi's
Lyndon Arthur's been there with Bivol.
And Lyndon Arthur's been there with Bivol. Yarde's been in there with Beterbiev. So how we put Boazzi above any of those guys? Okay, cool, they lost. but he's never even stepped in the ring with those guys.
Facts.
Do you know what I mean? And now you're losing to Callum Smith. Your opportunity, if you're Boatsi, to step in there with any of those guys is gone. Bang the gavel. It's over.
Trust me.
Do you know what I'm saying? Because you're losing to the level below. We're talking about Yarde, Boatsi. If Boatsi's next fight, he might have to go down to a Craig Richards. He might have to go down to, and then if you lose that fight, what are you doing? So if you're Boatsi, you need Yarde now. You're better off putting in a good performance. Yarde's stock is still a little bit higher than the Richards and these guys. You need a competitive fight against Yarde, at the very least.
But I hear you. I'm just thinking Yarde needs to find a way to get into that mix between Beterbiev. I was going to say, maybe Yarde versus Moreau, but, maybe Yarde versus Moreau. Maybe if I can't see it happening, but let's say Yarde is able to stop Moreau, then he look like people are going to be like, give him Benavidez.
Oh, for sure. If he can stop Morel, yeah, but
I don't see it.
Boxing 12 rounds of Lyndon Arthur to go and stop Morel. Do you know what I'm saying? The reality is, whatever you do next, we need to see more than what you did before.
Facts.
And I'm not convinced that you can do more than before. I personally, Nicholas Francis, doesn't think he has the skills. Other people like you and Rance and other people feel that he has the skills, but maybe those skills are not being trained and deployed in the right way. But we'll see. But at the end of the day, if we get to the end of his career and it's just constantly, I had the skills, but then at some point as the fighter, you got to take some responsibility for that.
Facts. But bringing it back, just summarising the Callum Smith Boatsi thing, Benavidez thing. Great fight. I'd lead towards Benavidez. I think if Benavidez wins that in impressive fashion and stops Callum Smith, then credit. If he can't stop Callum Smith, you know what the narrative is going to be already. That Beterbiev stopped Callum Smith. You want to fight the winner of Beterbiev and Bivol. If you can't stop Callum Smith, what chance do you have again? And
the guy that he's been chasing this whole time, Canelo, stopped Callum Smith.
No, he didn't. Oh,
he went to 12 didn't he?
Yeah,
I always think he stopped him.
He absolutely battered him. Yeah. Battered him. But yeah, if you can't stop him, or if you can't... This is the thing. Great point that you just brought up. I didn't even think about that. If you struggle with Callum Smith, because I can actually see that being a struggle. Canelo didn't struggle with Callum Smith.
Yeah.
You already know what they're going to say.
Younger, fresher, weight bully Callum Smith.
Literally. Got absolutely 12-0'd and battered by Canelo.
Yeah.
You struggled with Callum Smith. Imagine if they say... remember, he also went the distance with Caleb Plant. And Canelo stopped Caleb Plant.
Yeah.
You went the distance with Volzik, Beterbiev stopped Volzik. So it's literally like, how good are you?
Yeah.
Really and truly, if I'm Benavidez, I'm like, all right, cool, winning is one thing, but we literally need to see you put us like...
Your name is the Mexican monster.
Literally.
You're meant to be hurting people.
You're literally... Facts. And yeah.
It's got to be one of the first fights he's in where he's not necessarily the bigger guy.
Bro, you're reading my mind. Because I was literally going to say, this is a fight where we're going to have to see something more than size.
Yeah.
Pause.
Hey, yo.
Pause. We're going to have to see something more than you just being the
bigger guy,
stronger physically. Because Callum Smith, he gets like backed up because he's not like, he doesn't have great feet and he doesn't have great defense. Yeah. But he holds his ground and he's gonna fight it out with you.
Very big, very strong man, 100%. When you get hit in there, it would just be different. It would just be, we think that Benavidez is probably more skilled, but is he tougher? Is he more durable?
We've seen him down twice. Pause.
Yeah. No, it's facts. It is facts.
So, yeah,
It'd be a great fight. Credit to those guys for stepping in the ring of each other, as always, and credit to the winner. And, let's see how it plays out. Your boy, Bill Haney, the talking never stops. Yeah.
For me, yeah.
Does he talk more than anybody else in world boxing?
I actually understand why.
But does he talk more? Probably.
The only person I can think that talks more than him is Eddie Hearn, bro.
Yeah.
Eddie Hearn does an interview every other day, bro.
But Bill Haney works for one person. Eddie works for 100.
Literally,
he represents one person.
Facts. One thing you can't say is Devin could never fire his dad. Because this guy is a walking advertisement, bro.
100%.
This guy's going on every platform speaking about Devin. Sometimes to Devin's detriment. But you know what, bro? I'll keep it so real. We've seen a lot of father and son duos, and some of them have been toxic, some of them are really good. We done a list as well. Our videos out now. We ranked the top 10 best father and son duos.
Yeah.
And I actually think in this case, I actually feel like he's done a great job.
Yeah.
Reason being is because the narrative is always going to be, let's hate on Devin Haney. If he doesn't talk, people just don't talk about Devin. you just become, you get pushed to
the
the
worst
wayside.
thing you can do is be irrelevant. Yeah.
The worst thing you can be is irrelevant. I haven't heard one interview from Devin, well, maybe one interview from Devin since the fight he had against Jose Ramirez. Whereas Bill Haney's been on every single platform. Yeah. And the reason why it's good
Devin's a free agent, isn't he?
Yeah.
So Bill Haney really is his promoter. He's his manager, his promoter.
And his dad.
And his dad.
And his trainer.
So, but let's get into this because Bill Haney released this
Hitlist.
Allegedly Devin Haney approved Hitlist.
Or it's being talked about. Before we do that, how much of that do you think is just talk and noise, and how much do you think is actually legit?
Well, let's get into it first and then react, because I tweeted his dad in response. His dad obviously didn't reply to me, but I did tweet his dad in response to this because number one, have you seen the list?
Yeah.
Do you remember the list?
Not off my head. But
number one, Teofimo Lopez. Mm-hmm. Number two, Shakur Stevenson. Number three, Gervonta Davis. Number four, Jaron Ennis. Number five, Brian Norman Jr. Number six, Mario Barrios. Number seven, Keyshawn Davis. Number eight, Rolando Romero. Number 9, Conor Benn. And number 10, Ryan Garcia. Now, when I saw this list, I tweeted, I said, Ryan Garcia, number 10. Number 10.
Well, firstly, here's the thing, yeah. Firstly, let's just keep it real. That list off the bat, because I just heard the order, that list off the bat practically doesn't make any sense. Because Keyshawn Davis is 35, Tank is 35, Shakur is 35, but he's got Boots and Brian Norman Jr. before them. So how's that going to work?
But also in between them.
In between them. So
down,
up. That what's going down there? Yep. So firstly, let's react to the Ryan Garcia number 10 first. People are going to say, is that you ducking Ryan? That's what people are going to say. Is Devin ducking Ryan by putting Ryan number 10? But the issue is Oscar came out this week and said that fight's off the table and he wants Ryan to have a tune-up fight. He said that fight's off the table. He said Devin just runs and he doesn't want him to have that fight. So I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with Ryan not being there because he said
that's weak from you because you are Devin Haney's guy and I suggested Devin Haney should not look at the Ryan Garcia rematch. I suggested Devin Haney moves on and you were saying no. Devin's got to get his lick back. It's on.
Of course, 100%.
Devin's got to get his lick back. But, so just because his promoter says, no, that fight's not on the table, that don't mean anything.
Of course it does. If your promoter says you're not entertaining that fight and you're getting a tune-up, then I have to think about another fight.
But not, okay, fine. But then you've gone all the way down to number 10?
That I don't understand. But that's what I'm saying. The order I don't understand.
Number 9, before Ryan Garcia, is Conor Benn, who's coming off a loss. It's not even like, okay, Ryan Garcia's coming off a loss, got it, but that's a massive fight that you guys have beef with and all the rest of it. Not Conor, you'd rather fight Conor. So I offered you Conor Benn and Ryan Garcia, same money. That don't make no sense to me.
True,
the guys in there that are world champions, that makes sense to me. We're just calling out a bunch of world champions. Do you know what I mean? A bunch of the top names. I get it. We're willing to step in there. We can go to different weight classes.
Can we do something? Yeah. Can we go down the list and see what? Firstly, likelihood, and secondly, the chance of Devin winning that fight, based on what we've seen.
Yes.
So let's do that.
Number 1, Teofimo Lopez.
I think that's 100% likely.
Very likely.
I think in the conversation, later in the conversation, we'll talk about it more, but I think that's probably very likely.
Yeah. Shakur Stevenson. Not next.
But I feel like at some stage, they will fight each other.
Yeah, I think that's very likely. Gervonta Davis.
Unlikely.
I think it's unlikely.
Yeah. I feel that's very. I feel like Gervonta.
Because of Davis.
Yeah, because of Davis.
Gervonta Davis, in my opinion, lost to Lamont Roach, who's at 130. He's not going to fight in 140, 147 guys.
No chance.
In my opinion, especially not guys that can box.
Yeah, definitely not.
He might feel that he can out-crack someone who's a
he's going to become.
He might take on like a Romero if he was going to move up, but not someone that he feels like can outbox him.
Yeah, facts.
But he fought already before.
Yeah.
It's a bad example. Well, perfect example.
Yeah.
Jaron Ennis.
I actually see that as likely.
Down the line. But we know that Devin's big. Pause. So we know that Devin's going to have to move up.
And I also feel like Bill Haney has spoken about Jaron Ennis' weaknesses. And I feel like psychologically he feels like there's a way in which he can exploit it. Now, I don't necessarily agree, but I feel like you got to understand who Devin is and who Bill is. Those guys are historically known for taking fights that they shouldn't.
Right now, Devin loses that fight.
I think we should go down which fights he wins and loses.
Okay, so Teofimo. Okay, so do you want to do that
Yeah,
now?
yeah.
Okay, so Teofimo Lopez, you think very likely.
Yeah.
Right now, I lean towards Teofimo Lopez.
Right now, I lean towards Devin.
I still think that I know he boxes defensive. I understand that, but Devin boxes defensive, but then looks for the opportunity to crack where he can. I didn't see any of that. I do think that he's still coming over. The footwork, just the skittishness, the nervous energy we saw from him. I don't think he's ready for that.
Teo doesn't like movers though. And another thing is, Teo hasn't got a knockout in a while. You're not saying Teo's beating Devin on points. You can't say that. You'd have to drop Devin. You have to drop Devin like 5 times that Ryan did, and even
I
then,
I think you can drop Devin twice in a fight.
If that's the case, there's chances a 50-50 fight.
Yeah.
But because Devin's so good at winning rounds and Teo doesn't like movers, I feel like
I think that Teo could win rounds with flashiness more than Devin. Devin can only win rounds of boxing.
But Devin's great at winning rounds, bro. Like, this is what people... even when he fought Loma, he didn't look good, but he won rounds because of not looking good.
I hear you. I think Teo's more entertaining.
It's a great fight, though. It's a great fight.
I feel like Devin can win rounds on paper. Teo can steal rounds. Like Tyson Fury steals rounds where he hasn't won the round. In terms of boxing, he hasn't won the round, but he stuck his tongue out and jiggled his waist.
I hear you.
Teo will do that.
He does that. He does. I mean,
Teo could win a round with one crack. Devin could be boxing his head off, and Teo could land one banging counter, which kind of rocks Devin back and then celebrates the crowd and could potentially nick the round.
True.
It's so difficult.
True. That's true.
This one's probably the hardest to call because they're so similar. Shakur Stevenson. Again,
that is going to be one of the most boringest fights ever.
Right now, I just lean towards Stevenson just purely based on confidence. Both at their best, I lean towards Devin. But Shakur
That's
Stevenson...
a tough one.
Just on confidence.
That is a tough one.
I feel like Devin will have to mix between...
You know what? Yeah, you're right.
For the Ryan Garcia fight, if it wasn't for the Ryan Garcia fight, Devin's style of mixing up pure boxing with being aggressive and getting into a fight every now and again would be perfect. But right now...
I actually think Shakur wins that because I think Shakur ain't stepping on the gas.
Yeah.
Devin will feel the power and realize this guy doesn't hit as hard as Ryan. He doesn't hit as hard as like other guys have fought.
I can fight.
Yeah, I can fight this guy, and that's probably where he cost him. Yeah.
Gervonta Davis, I'm not dignifying that. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, no, me neither.
Number 4, Jaron Ennis.
Jaron Ennis wins that fight, in my opinion.
I think so.
It'll be a good fight, though. It'll be a good fight because Jaron Ennis is going to have to show me something. He's going to have to show me that you can cut off the ring.
Yeah.
Because we've seen him fight movers, and that's the only time Jaron Ennis has been the distance was when someone's moved and ran, and he struggled to cut off the ring and stop him. But I feel like Devin's going to struggle offensively against
Brian Norman Jr.
I think Devin wins that fight.
I think Devin wins that fight as well. Mario Barrios.
Devin wins that fight.
I think Devin wins that fight. Keyshawn Davis.
That's going to be a tough one. I actually think on that list...
Keyshawn Davis stays off the alcohol. If he stays off the drink, because I see him celebrating and drinking, having a good time.
That probably... Right now, I think... And it's going to be crazy. I think Keyshawn Davis has more chance of beating Devin Haney than Shakur Stevenson does.
I see that.
I actually see that.
I see that. Because
Keyshawn Davis is actually going to make a fight. And if Keyshawn Davis cracks Devin, I can see Devin just going on his back.
Yeah.
I think out of everybody on that list...
I think Keyshawn's better at cutting off the ring as well.
Oh, against Shakur, than Shakur, 100%. Keyshawn Davis is relentless,
But
bro.
even like better than Jaron Ennis or better than...
maybe. Yeah, he's definitely better than Teo.
Yeah.
Definitely better than Teo.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Keyshawn, probably...
You move who you want, I'll come find you.
Yeah, trust me.
Yeah, I'll fight you in your end.
Yeah, trust me.
Yeah, that's why Keyshawn's
the only thing about Keyshawn is he would have never fought someone who's as good and as smart as winning rounds as Devin. Like, Devin is, like, bro, I genuinely feel like people underestimate how good Devin is at winning rounds. Like, he's actually that good at winning rounds. But I still, at this stage, as of today, it's difficult to say because Keyshawn's at 35. But I'd have to see him move up. He's fighting soon, but he's got a great chance.
Rolly Romero.
Devin.
I think Devin as well. And I think, because again, Devin will know Rolly's got that power. Stay away from that power.
That's
if you know that ahead of time, someone that can mix it like Keyshawn, difficult. Someone that can mix it like Jaron, difficult. But you know you're going in there with a power puncher. Devin is skilled enough to just stay away from that punch.
Facts.
Conor Ben.
That fight
Mixy.
That fight.
Mixy.
You know why it's funny?
It's
because
mixy, bro.
one thing I saw about Conor Ben was Conor Ben doesn't have a back end of a fight. He doesn't have a second half. So he only has a first half. So he's going to have to cause a lot of damage in that first half of that fight.
But also, Conor Ben is so typically English or British that he's got a chin and he just walks. I don't know what it is about. Americans make great boxers, but Brits come with a granite chin and he will just keep walking forwards. I don't know if Devin can win rounds against him all night. He could 12-0 him, but he can't stop him from coming forwards.
Facts. That's a fact.
He will not be able to stop him
That's
coming
a fact.
forwards.
That is a fact.
And once Conor gets close to you,
facts.
How hard does Conor hit? We still don't really know. He's able to hurt Chris at times, but we need to see him fight people more in his own size and weight class. But I think he'd be able to crack. 100.
I think that's a good fight. I feel like it really
It depends on the night. I still lean Devin because I think the technicalities. I do lean towards
I always
Devin,
like to lean towards the boxer.
Yeah, I lean towards Devin, but yeah. And then, of course, Ryan Garcia, where I think
Ryan's done, bro.
I think Ryan's done.
Yeah, so, yeah, man. But, yeah, no, I think... But just, like, moving the conversation along, we spoke about Teo versus Devin. I actually feel like that's a very likely fight.
Yeah, like, I hope that's next.
From what I've heard, it's next. And I'm going to tell you something that you're not going to like. I'm gonna tell you, remember we spoke about something the other day?
Yep.
About cultural currency?
Yep.
You know that fight's going to be in Saudi? Teofimo Lopez, next fight, according to Teofimo Lopez, will be in Saudi Arabia. It will be in Saudi Arabia.
Devin Haney wins.
The thing with me that I don't understand...
Devin's fought in Saudi before?
No, he hasn't.
Has he not?
No, he hasn't. None of them have.
He spent time there?
Yeah. He's spent bare time. He's spent bare time there.
He's been in Saudi a lot.
Bears, yeah.
And he's Muslim.
Yeah. If it goes to the decision...
Devin Haney wins.
Every day of the week. But the thing is why it's so crazy for me is... we have to have this conversation,
Yeah,
bro.
go on.
We have to have this conversation because obviously the Saudis didn't watch our last video, bro. In the sense that we spoke about the importance of cultural currency.
We said, the building fights should be in Saudi. But the big mega fights...
Where there's cultural currency. Explain to them what cultural currency is.
I'm talking about the fights that are where the fans are gonna have a massive say in the fight. The fact that fighters, not all fighters have a massive fan base. You know, it's East Coast versus West Coast.
Facts. Latino versus
black.
And because of what Teo's
been battling the black community specifically, like there's a lot of genuine needle and a lot of stuff that local fans would want. A lot of reasons local fans would want to see this.
Facts.
It could be, it could generate way more money.
In America, not generate because Saudi is just putting the money up. They're just going to put the money up for a site fee. But in terms of actually generating the money in terms of pay-per-view buys and ticket sales, then of course, like it's going to generate.
Not to mention that. I don't know how much California fuck with Devin Haney because it's Devin Haney versus the world, but the time difference between Saudi and America, for the average American, at 5 a.m. they're going to have to be fighting at crazy times in the morning. It's not like it's London to New York where it's 5 hours difference. It's a little bit different.
Yeah, this is like...
I mean, this is a big time difference. Devin Haney's fan base, what fan base he has, that's heavily West Coast. I know a lot of the East Coast boys fuck with him, like that they support the black fighters, but he's from California, right?
Yeah.
So his guys in California are going to be way behind.
Exactly. And for me, I don't get it. Teo obviously wants to make the most money and he's going to be fighting for the most amount of money. And that is literally because basically how it works is, for those who don't know, and I don't think you might know this as well. Basically, Saudi have dates that they want fights on. And basically one of the dates that they had was intended for was for Canelo versus Crawford, right? And that was supposed to be in Saudi also. Because that fight is no longer going to be in Saudi, that they need another headline fight, which would have been Ryan versus Devin. Yeah. Ryan has lost and they're no longer entertaining that fight. Yeah. So the next biggest fight, when you think about America, the next biggest fight in America right now is Teo versus either Boots or Teo versus Devin. In my opinion, and I will get to the whole Boots thing in the situation, but in my opinion, a fight like that can't be in Saudi, bro. Yeah. It can't be in Saudi, regardless of where the money is being generated. And I know Teo's just a money whore right now. He's doing everything. He will sell his batty for money right now. Yeah. But he's just doing whatever it is for money. You got to understand what that fight means.
Yeah, if Tyson Fury comes out of retirement and fights AJ, that can't.
It can't be in Saudi, bro.
It can't be in Saudi.
Like what Teo's done has been great at just almost pissing people off. All of this whole
the racism stuff. Yeah. The environment. What we're talking about when we talk about cultural currency is the environment that they would fight in, the cauldron of fan bases in Vegas or anywhere on the West Coast, New York, Philly, any of these places is not replicable anywhere else in
the world. It's not even replicable specifically in Saudi. Specifically in Saudi.
If they hosted that fight in London, it wouldn't be the same as in America. You could pack out a London stadium with 10,000 Latin man and 10,000 black man and have a little bit of needle.
Of course,
but you can't. That's not.
You ain't having that. Like even in what you got to understand is when they do the promotion, you got Bill Haney, you got Teofimo Lopez's dad, you got Teo. These man talk shit for a living. I'm not trying to hear no press conference. Oh, thank you, His Excellency. I'm not trying to hear that, bro.
We're gonna hear the Saudi national anthem.
I ain't trying to hear none of that, bro. I'm trying to hear man say, bro, when I see you, it's on site. That's what I'm trying to hear. Yeah. And you don't get that in Saudi. People are just too respectful. And this is not the sport for it, bro. Go for cricket, blood.
Yeah.
This is boxing. And this is what we speak about so much, which is culture.
There are certain fighters that need that.
Facts.
Teo needs that. No matter, I prefer Devin Haney to Teofimo Lopez, but I want to see them both fight at their best. And at his best, he's shit talking, winding up the crowd, winding up Bill Haney. Bill Haney's quite emotional. He gets rattled.
He's going to be in the corner affecting.
That will be someone like Tyson Fury. He needs to talk to his opponent. He needs to chat shit to his opponent.
He needs a crowd.
He needs a crowd influence.
Trust me.
He'll be flat otherwise. He needs that. And I think whatever the fighters need outside of steroids, Ryan Garcia, but give them what they need. Give them the environment that they need. It's almost like having a Champions League final or a last game of the season, North London derby behind closed doors. Like COVID.
Can you imagine a North London derby in Saudi?
Yeah.
What are we doing, bro?
It'd be like COVID year.
Literally, what are we doing, bro?
We saw during COVID, the results were just crazy because it was flat. There's no environment. Places like Anfield that are normally a cauldron is just not really... Bro, so it makes a difference.
It makes a difference. And I'm not trying to see that, bro, but it's happening. It's actually happening. And this is what people are doing, bro. They're just selling their soul for money. And I don't really like it.
That's what it is, man. That's where we've got to, unfortunately, at this stage. But... yeah, well...
I mean, a lot of people are going to be like, oh, why are we not talking about Teofimo Lopez versus Boots? And isn't that the fight that's going to be made? In my opinion, for one, Boots ain't fighting outside in East Coast America, bro.
Yeah.
He's just not going to do it. Like, bro, he sold 12,000, 14,000, 9,000. 12,000, 14,000, and I think 10,000 in East Coast, headlining his own shows. I am not going to then go to Saudi. That just ruins my momentum. Yeah. The last fight that I had was the only fight out of those three that I won by stoppage. I'm gonna want another fight at in my home area.
The thing is, man are only jumping on the Teofimo Lopez versus Boots thing because of the recent needle. But the needle has been there with Devin Haney for
years.
Way longer.
They would have fought already if he didn't lose to Kambosos, bro. Yeah. And then Devin had to fight Kambosos in Australia. Yeah. But if you beat Kambosos, Devin and Teo would have fought time ago.
They've already been shit-talking each other on the build-up to the New York card, but there was the four of them there and they were already... So the needle's already there. I'd like to see Teofimo Lopez fight Jaron Boots Ennis, but not before Devin.
And... like, for me, Jaron...
same way I'd like to see Devin fight Conor Benn, but not before Ryan.
Literally, it's like Jaron Ennis. I would love to see Jaron Ennis fight Majimov, but not before Virgil.
Yeah.
Jaron Ennis and that's the fight I want to see.
Yeah.
And for me, if I'm not seeing Jaron Ennis fight, he can't fight Barrios because Barrios is fighting Pacquiao. No, Brian Norman Jr. has gone to Japan. Teofimo Lopez doesn't have a belt at 47. So for me, if your next fight isn't a world title fight at 47, which it can't be, I want to see you fight at 54.
54 is very shallow as well. Like, it's not like...
What do you mean shallow in terms of names or in terms of ability?
In terms of big names.
Oh, in terms of big names, yeah, but there's great fighters there.
Because all those guys will be coming to 54 pretty soon.
Do you mean at 47?
Yeah, I think a lot of them will be moving up to 54.
I don't know about that.
Or what I'm saying is those fights are not gone.
They're not gone. They're not gone.
Those fights will still be there.
I mean, definitely, if Teo and Devin fight each other, I can definitely see the winner of that first in Jaron Ennis. But for me, I just feel like the next step for Jaron Ennis is literally just to continue the momentum that you already have. Like, you've had good fights, you've had good sellout fights. Don't go Saudi, bro. Just keep fighting in America and just keep building up your profile. And then, because if he does move to 54, you brought up a good point. At 54, outside of Virgil, you're probably going to be the biggest name at 54. If Crawford moves up to 68, which he's doing to fight Canelo, who at 54 has a bigger name than you?
Yeah.
And you can pretty much just colonize that division. Whereas if you stay at 47, you almost have to share the limelight with a Rolly, with a Ryan, with a Teo, with a Devin.
You can beat Virgil now, and then you can unify against the winner of Barrios and Pacquiao.
No, but that's 47.
Barrios and Pacquiao?
47.
Oh, I thought it's 54. Okay,
that's 47.
Pacquiao's still making 147.
Bro, Pacquiao, I don't even know Pacquiao's still fighting, bro. I don't even know how Pacquiao's still. For me, if I'm Jaron Ennis, I swear to God, this will be my fight. This will be my advice. Go and fight Virgil, and go and fight Conor Ben. That's what would be my. That's what I'm doing. Fight Virgil, fight Conor Ben.
What are you saying? You've got the Black American audience already.
Yeah, go beat that.
Latins,
go beat them, and then go and get them.
Show yourself to the Brits.
Trust me,
and then
bro, that's what I'm doing. Then anybody who wants you have it, because bro, you'll be the biggest face in boxing. If you go beat Virgil and you go and beat Conor Ben, you're the biggest face in the boxing. Canelo's gonna be gone by then. Crawford's gonna be gone by then. Usyk, Fury, all gonna be gone by then. You will be the biggest face in boxing.
Yeah,
if you do that. But yeah,
there you go. Listen, we're going to see it. Whoever they fight, we're waiting for that announcement from Teofimo Lopez. We think it's going to be Teofimo Lopez versus Devin Haney. We're waiting to see if it's Jaron Ennis versus Virgil Ortiz, which we're hoping it is, or whatever it is. We'll be covering it live on the channel. So, you know what I'm saying? Make sure that you like the video, subscribe to the channel for when we're live. Now, on to football. Manchester United.
Yeah.
Signed a striker last summer in Joshua Zirkzee. Signed a striker the summer before that in Hoyland.
I think the striker in the season before that was Ronaldo, was it not?
And they signed a striker the season before that for Ronaldo. And now they're looking to sign 3 strikers. That would be Cunha, Mbeumo, and Delap, who all... I know Cunha... Mbeumo is kind of he plays wide, like an inside forward.
So does Cunha.
Cunha plays more centrally. They don't
no,
really
but Cunha plays behind the front, man.
Yeah, he's a second striker. Yeah. He's a second striker.
Yeah, and we play with 2 players behind the front, man.
Yeah, I'm just saying, he's a striker. I'm saying Mbeumo maybe isn't a striker, but Liam Delap and Cunha are definitely strikers.
You know? I mean, Liam Delap can only play up front.
Yeah.
We play 3...
Cunha to me is not a 10, he's a second striker.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So
no.
You man are signing more strikers. Mm-hmm. That's the point. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? So...
But I feel like you have to understand the landscape.
Go on, talk to me.
United have just lost the Europa League final and have had the worst season in history. Yeah. We can't... The optimism for Man United is right down on the floor. Any business we do has to be immediate. Yeah. Has to be immediate, bro. Forget from a financial perspective. You need something to distract the fans and make the fans believe in you next season.
And you're only really shopping from a pool of players that are not looking at European football next year.
Of course.
Because you're going to have to way overpay to get people to come and
No, but I actually like that. Do you know why I like that? Because Liam Delap scored 12 goals last season. Cunha scored, I think, 15 goals last season. And then Mbeumo scored...
Like 20?
Not in the league. I think he scored like maybe 15 goals in the league. Yeah. So you've just signed 3 players who's Premier League proven. Next season, we're only playing Premier League. We're not playing anything else. Yeah. So I don't need you to get me a European level player because we're not playing in Europe. Yeah. Get me someone who's gonna get us playing that's gonna be winning at a high enough level. For me, every single one of those signings, maybe not Delap, but every single one of those strikers, I think I understand why he's done it because he wants a completely new front three. Obviously, Zirkzee was better than Hoyland, but he didn't work out. Hoyland didn't work out. Garnacho's going, which we're going to talk about. Yeah. But Rashford's probably going. Sancho's probably going. Anthony's probably going. So those 6 players are going. We're going to need to get at least 4 players in to replace them. And I guess Ahmad's going to be staying. Other than that, you're looking at our front three and it's really, really thin. We were playing Mount up behind the front man in the last game. Do you know what I'm saying?
He's going to be staying.
But that's my whole point. So when I see business like that and I see business early, I know I was Amarin out, and I'm probably still. I didn't even want Amarin in the first place, just to let you know. But I know I was Amarin.
You did, but not in January.
I actually didn't want Amarin in at all.
You wanted to keep Ten Hag?
No, I wanted us to keep Van Nistelrooy until the end of the season,
and then get who?
And then look at the landscape at the end of the season.
Okay.
But Amarin, now he's been in the season. Now we know he's definitely staying. This is what I want to see. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, let's say you're Yardman, for example. You're Yardman and you're Arteta out. If you know Arteta isn't going anywhere, the second best thing is go and buy me a striker first day. Yeah. Go and buy me a Gyökeres first day. Or Isak first day. Then, at least it's going to make me think, you know what, maybe I don't support you, but that's a good move. That's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, at some point you've got to let go of the Amarin out situation or Arteta out. You can feel Arteta out, but come the first game of the season, he's not going.
He's not going anywhere.
So it is what it is. What's your target? Like, what do you think for next season? You man finished 17th this year.
15th.
Was it 15th? Yeah, the Spurs finished 17th. You man finished 15th this year. What's your target? You're going to get these signings. You're only playing in the league. You've only got the league to focus on. That can sometimes good and bad because there's kind of pressure on you to this the only competition, etc. And I also think that after the couple of seasons you've won a League Cup, you've won an FA Cup last couple of years, but not with this manager. You lost the final, etc., etc. Big pressure. What's the target for you next year? Is it just about because normally we're United, we win trophies, but is it really about would you take 14th in the cup, or does it need to be, bro, we need to be back in Europe?
No. This is the thing. I feel like this for the first time. I feel like United have to look at this season halfway through the season. Let me explain. If halfway through the season we haven't got a style of play, and we don't have any form of consistency, Amarin has to go. You have no credit from last season. You have no credit from last season. The players that we've bought this season is purely and simply players that the club's bought. I don't believe they're players that Amarin has identified and said, get me that player.
You mean these players that we're getting now?
The 3 players that we've bought, I do not think that's the case. Because if I'm Amarin, I would have been looking for some... He hasn't been in the league long enough to say X, Y, Z is the players that I want. Do you know what I'm saying? He doesn't know these players enough to make that decision. I feel like these are club signings. And if that's the case, that means that you can look at this and say, you know what? If after halfway through the season, we do not have we don't have a style of play and we're not having consistent performances, you got to go. I feel like it's one of those seasons where I don't know what is the bare minimum because I can say the bare minimum is to finish in the top 8, for example. The bare minimum is to finish in the top 8. But then Chelsea, Spurs, City, and let's say Aston Villa, they drop off. Then all of a sudden, like I'll give you an example. The season that you lot challenged for the league the first time, it wasn't your expectation to challenge for the league.
Yeah.
It was to get top 4.
Yeah.
But then after halfway through the season, you're like, Ross, and I feel like that's this season for us. I feel like this season could be a season where we're like, you're not winning the league, but we could be halfway through the season in the top 4 race.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden finishing in the top 8 isn't the bare minimum anymore. Do you know what I'm saying? So for me, I feel like we literally just need... The things I'm looking for is a style of play and its consistent performances. Yeah. Where that then brings us, that's a completely different conversation because we've seen in previous seasons, Nottingham Forest had a style of play and a consistent way of playing and almost got Champions League football. Do I feel like we can get a team that's better than Nottingham Forest next season? 100%. And that team was almost good enough to get Champions League. Do you know what I'm saying? So for me, that's the bare minimum that I want. Style of play and consistent performances.
They had Nuno though. Good experience.
That was Nuno's first season.
Yeah. That
was Nuno's first season. Nobody at the start of the season was saying for them to did not get relegated, probably.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? But because he had a style of play and consistent performances and players that played well for the manager, all of a sudden their ambitions were higher than what they expected. And that's what I expect out of United this season.
So as of right now, what's the goal? Because you told me you're going to reassess in January, but what's the goal as of right now?
As of right now, I expect for us to, for one, I want it to be a case of next season, we are by halfway through the season, we are no lower than 7th place.
No, but what's your goal for the season? Not halfway through the season, for the actual season, as of right now. You could change it later, but as of right now.
As of right now, if we can challenge for like a top 5 position, if we can challenge for a top 5 position, then I would take that. If you can challenge.
Tall order, I think.
I don't actually think so, bro. The reason why, let me tell you why I don't think so. I know why you're saying that, but let me tell you why I don't think so. I feel like when you look at the quality of the Premier League, how many teams are really that good? Nottingham Forest almost finished in the top 4 this year, bro.
Yeah.
They almost finished in the top 4. Like, we're talking about at one stage, Aston Villa were a couple points off you.
Okay, so when you're talking about like teams being that good, I don't know what you mean by that, but I will say that 2nd to 6th, 7th, that's competitive. That's very
not second. Maybe 3rd. Because Spurs
we were there.
No.
By the end, it was within about 3 points. It was within 3 points.
No, but in terms of quality of the team, we're talking...
No, we're not talking about quality of the team. Because good quality teams can lose. We're just talking about points.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Points tally-wise, there's maybe 5 points between 2nd and like 7th or 8th. So it's a fine margin. Even if we're not talking about the teams being amazing, it's close. Points-wise, it's close.
But you got to understand that this team... This last season, the season before last, we finished, I think, 7th or 8th under Ten Hag. The season before that, we finished 3rd. You know what I'm saying? And then this season, we finished 17th. So that's a steady regression, right? So for me, I'm looking at next season and I'm like, the 3 signings that we've just signed, as well as, for me, a few core players that if we can keep, which I think we're going to get into what players we can keep and what not we can't keep, who we can't keep. But the 3 players that we can't, that we will be able to keep, I feel like that should be good enough to get us at least challenging for the Champions League next season.
Yeah.
And we're playing once a week, bro. Like, I genuinely... Bro,
this is a big opportunity.
There's 8 teams next season or 9 teams next season playing 2 times a week next season.
I think that you guys should focus on you can take this season as a free hit, because really, when I say free hit, what I mean is you're not going to finish 15th, right? You're not going to finish that low. So, but things that you would normally need to address, the wage balance, for example, like structural problems in your club, it's not pretty and it's painful, but you can take a season where you're only playing in the Premier League to readdress those things. Get some of those big earners out. Get people like Liam Delap coming up. You know, he's not on big wages. Brian Mbeumo not on massive wages. I think Cunha is probably going to demand quite high wages.
Not as much as what we've been given.
Yeah,
out,
true.
Though.
Yeah. I guess not as much by Arsenal and United.
Not even just that, bro. We're getting rid of Rashford. We're getting rid of Sancho. Those man already, that's over 500,000, bro.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? That's 2 players that we're getting rid of.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm getting rid of Garnacho as well. He's got to go as well. I think there's a clear sign that United's trying to get rid of him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we get rid of these players. I'm like, Shaw, Garnacho, Sancho,
you think Cass will go?
Rashford, Casemiro, even though I actually like Casemiro. Casemiro's got to go. I think Højlund's like 150 million, bro.
Like Højlund and Anthony are on quite...
Anthony's gonna go.
Yeah.
And because Real Betis said they're gonna do everything in their power to get him, so he's gonna go. That's another person on a bag of wages from another person's regime. I feel like when you think about that, this is literally not a blessing in disguise, but I know what you mean by free hit. Where it's like, because we finished so low, a lot of these players we wanted to get rid of anyway.
Basically, you're not going to go any lower. This is the lowest like when we say like 15th, 16th, 17th, there's no difference. You're not going to get relegated. So you can't really go any lower than where you were. But use this season to readdress those problems that have been recurring problems, recurring recruitment problems, those types of issues.
I am so refreshed by this as well. You know why I'm so refreshed by this is because the last few seasons, we've signed players that's gambles.
Yeah.
In fact, I could probably say since... How many years has that been the case, bro?
Yeah.
How many years has United signed players that's a gamble?
Yeah.
And I'm like, for me, specifically with Cunha and Mbeumo, they are not gambles, bro. The reason... Liam Delap potentially, but Cunha and Mbeumo,
Cunha's on the edge. He's got 1 season.
He's been in the Premier League before. This is his 2nd season in the Premier.
Oh, is it? I thought it was his 1st season.
I'm pretty sure it's his... Check. I'm pretty sure it's his 2nd.
I thought it was his 1st. I could be wrong.
I'm pretty sure it's his 2nd season at Wolves. Wasn't he not playing with flipping Jimenez on... What's it called?
Let me check. Yeah, it's the second season.
Second season. Do you know what I'm saying? So for me, them two players and what Cunha done last season wasn't just a good season, it was a great season. Third season. Exactly. His third season in the Premier League. So for me, like, we're talking about two players.
He came like part way through
the third season.
The third season.
But
so
yeah,
two
man.
and a half years, yeah.
Fam, yeah. I feel like he's definitely someone who's not a gamble, and neither is Mbeumo, bro.
Yeah, I hear you.
The only person who I would have got instead would have been an Ivan Toney.
Yeah.
That would have been the only person who, because I know he's not a gamble either.
Yeah. Premier League proven for sure.
Literally.
Saturday we're going to be live, or I'm going to be live. Champions League final, PSG versus Inter Milan. So come and lock in for that one as well. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, be here for that. What are we thinking? Like, you feel like this could have an impact on the Ballon d'Or? You feel like, you know, PSG have yet to win the Champions League. This is the big one for them. They've been playing saucy football. Obviously, they got past us to get to the final.
I can't lie. If you asked Luis Enrique at the quarterfinal stage, the one team he wouldn't have wanted to play, he would have probably told you Inter Milan.
Yeah.
When he was watching Barca versus Inter, he probably was praying to play Barca. Because Inter Milan are a team that will win a game and not care about how they look. They're just going to try and win it.
Yeah.
A few seasons ago, Inter got to the final. And if it wasn't for Lukaku, they probably would have had a great chance of winning.
Yeah.
I feel like you can't... The way PSG play football, I just don't think it suits Inter Milan. I just don't think... the way Inter Milan play football, I don't think it suits PSG at all.
Yeah.
I just don't think so.
It's out and out attack versus defence. It's the best attack between PSG and Barcelona for the best attack in the Champions League, and then Inter for the best defence.
No, but if you're just best defence, but the best grit, like, they had to play a different way of play, but they showed character against Barcelona.
Yeah.
They showed a great level of character. That, for me, is the difference.
They've both been in finals in recent years as well.
Facts.
So, I mean, I think PSG were in the final a few years ago against
Bayern.
Yeah. Inter, like you say, they were in the final against Man City. So they've both been there. They've both just been so close. But Inter have got over the line in the past. And obviously, PSG have yet to get over the line. So this would be could this be a turning point for PSG going forward? If PSG can go and win this, because every year...
It all depends on how long Luis Enrique stays there.
You think it's down to the manager?
100%. It's always down to the manager, bro. Like, look at what Inzaghi's done with Inter, bro. Wait, did Inter win the league?
No,
Napoli won it. Napoli won it, innit? By a point, innit?
With your balls.
And my man won, he won Player of the Season. McTominay.
Yeah. They love him over there. But yeah, like with this Champions League final, I think, you know, if PSG were to win it, Inter have a great legacy of winning Champions Leagues. They've won it before. You know, and when you go into a new Champions League season, you know, Arsenal and PSG's a bit better than us, but like, you know, we're teams that people think you could probably go deep in this tournament, but we're not going to win it, but you can go deep. Whereas Inter, Barca, Madrid, they've got more of that heritage of these are the guys you're looking at.
Liverpool.
I think City less. City have won one, but like Liverpool, I would say more so for the Champions League specifically. Premier League, we look at City and think it's probably yours to lose. But Inter, Liverpool, Madrid, those teams you look at and go, you know, you've got solid heritage in this competition. Could one win, like you just said, Man City, and that's exactly the point I'm making. Could one win from PSG put them into that conversation? Because now we look at Man City and go, yeah, Man City maybe, you know, they're in there. But they've only won one.
Yeah, facts.
Do you know what I mean?
I mean, even Chelsea's won more.
Chelsea's won 2.
Yeah. I think Luis Enrique, though, it really is about how long he's willing to stay. I just think, though, like, if you were to put a gun to my head, who do I think is going to win that game? I'd probably tell you Inter Milan, bro.
Yeah.
I actually think Inter Milan's going to win it because I actually feel like when the chips are down, I think that's going to be a tough game. And I feel like the issue that PSG have had thus far is that you didn't really give them much of a competition. Liverpool did, but you lot didn't really lay a glove on them. And neither has anybody laid a glove on them in the league.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Whereas Inter's had a tough league campaign. They've been fighting all the way through. Yeah. When you fight Barca and when you play Barca and you win against Barca, you in your mind you feel no one can beat me.
Yeah.
No, you're going into that game almost with the handbrake up. PSG thinking I already got it.
Like you look at like Barcelona's team, two players in there, Yamal and Rafinha, that people think are on the shortlist for Ballon d'Or and should be winning Ballon d'Ors and stuff like that, and you managed to get through them. Do you know what I mean? You know, you've got
in the most entertaining and character building way possible.
Was it 7-6 on aggregate in the end?
Yeah, and not only that, you literally had to come back from behind multiple times in both games.
Yeah.
You know, he showed great character. And I'm like, bro, I just don't think PSG's had to do it, bro. Because I don't think it's going to come down to ability, bro. Rarely does finals come down to one team being better than the other. It's about who can hold their nerve and who's got bottle. Yeah. That's what it really comes down to. Yeah. Rarely is when was the last time we saw a final where one team was just significantly better than another?
Yeah. It don't really happen, yeah.
Rarely does that happen. And I just genuinely feel like it's going to come down to character.
Yeah. Yeah.
If Inter does win it though, who do you think is going to win? PSG or Inter?
I'm leaning PSG. They're just so, like, you know, they haven't been battle hardened the same way that Inter have been battle hardened, but they're so clean. Their midfield, is the best midfield we've played against. I've not seen a team like just thumping balls into the feet of a player.
That is a mad line, bro.
But like just driving passes into the midfield. They go from defense to attack so fast, it's insane. And they turn the Inter's different because Inter have I don't know, like they've both got attacking fullbacks, but like Dumfries and that like to run with the ball, whereas like Hakimi and that don't run with the ball. They run without the ball. They pump the ball into Dembele. And for me, a good player, we at Arsenal are not a bad team, but we struggle to have players. I can't think of that many players that can receive the ball on the half turn. A good player for us is they take one touch. If Ødegaard can take one touch to stop the ball and another touch to turn, that's good. They do it. Vitinha, Neves, Dembele, they all do that. Kvaratskhelia, they all do that in one motion. Receive and turn and gone so fast, and then the fullbacks come with them, and suddenly you're like, brother, there's bear man attacking me, bro. It's like trying to beef a Mali on the high road. It's like, bro, all of a sudden there was one brother, and now there's 7 Abdis. Like, where did it come from? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it's like playing PSG. It was I'd never seen anything like it, honestly. And the amount of goal scorers they've got in their side, they just look like everyone can score a goal.
Facts.
Everyone in their team can score a goal.
And I get that impression about Inter though.
And I feel like Inter, I know they haven't won the league, but I feel like they're more obviously the Barca game is the game. Like the Barca leg, I hear it. But PSG feel more set up to go and outscore their opponent, which I know we've seen with Inter Milan. Maybe I'm being emotional because Arsenal lost to PSG and I've seen it. But I don't know, man. I'm leaning towards PSG.
Yes, fair. So, I mean, if PSG do win it, the Ballon d'Or has to go to Dembele, probably.
You think so?
He's had a terrific season, bro.
When was the last time the Ballon d'Or went to someone in the French league?
When was the last time the Ballon d'Or went to someone who didn't win the Champions League?
Yeah.
Rodri, but he won the Euros.
Did Modric win the Champions League?
Yeah.
Did he? Oh, fair enough.
And he got Croatia to the final of the Euros.
Yeah.
On the World Cup.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So most of the time, the person who wins the champion wins the Ballon d'Or is Messi won it, but less said about it's Messi, innit? But
I'll never turn my back on the boy, so you really can do no wrong as far as I'm concerned, Messi. But I hear you, though. Yeah.
I mean, who can win if Inter win the
People talk about Rodri. Rafinha. Rafinha
or
meant to be in that conversation. Rafinha and Yamal in that conversation.
I mean, they won the Spanish league,
Salah?
La Liga.
Mo Salah in that conversation?
Not for me.
No?
Not for me. For me, I don't even know. Like, it would be difficult not to. You got to look at our Inter play. Inter would have won the treble, no? No, they lost. PSG would have won the treble, no? They would have won the treble.
Yeah. In the French league, though.
It's still the treble, bro.
No, I'm just wondering how much. I'm not discrediting.
They almost went undefeated, bro. They almost went invincible, bro. Yeah. Like, you gotta give it some. If they win, you gotta give it to someone from PSG.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking if
Dembele were to win the Ballon d'Or, the great like redemption arc for him, who was seen as like a bit of a flop and a bit of injury problems, is mad.
And when he went to PSG, it was almost like why
it was like a semi-retirement.
Yeah.
Especially because Mbappe was leaving. So when Mbappe and Neymar left and Messi left, it felt like. Okay, they're kind of done. Like, do you know what I mean? But actually, what they did is they did away with the superstars and they built more of a cohesive.
That's what I'm
hard-working
hoping
team.
United can do. I'm hoping.
Can't compare United to PSG.
I'm hoping. You never know, bro. And Mbeumo might be winning the Ballon d'Or in 2 seasons. I'm joking.
So you're leaning towards Inter.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards PSG. I mean, you thought United was you sat
I'm a
here
United fan, though.
You
innit?
sat here
I'm a-
and you
I'm a
sat
United
here and
fan.
said you sat here and said you were convinced United were going to win the Europa League, and they were absolutely.
What did you want me to
no
say?
doubt.
What did you want me to say? Do you want me to say that we're not going to? I'm like you with boxing predictions. You know when, yeah? You know when when you make a prediction, you have to go all out. You have to go all out. You can't sit on the fence, bro.
We'll be live on Saturday. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Final topic. We want to talk about your friend from DR Sports.
Can I just put a disclaimer? Yeah. I've met a handful of people on DR Sports. Nick's one, Laurie's one. Let's just put it this way. I've met the least amount of people from DR Sports. I've not received one check from DR Sports or payment from DR Sports. So I have actually never been a representative or employee of DR Sports. So not saying anything negative about DR. I watch DR all the time. I actually like their platform. Their platform is really good. Shout out to everybody at DR. Shout out to Robbie as well, and shout out to Hass, and shout out to Laurie. That's what I'm saying.
When you go like politician mode, when you go politician mode, it just cracks me up so much.
Shout out to Robbie though, 'cause I actually rate Robbie still.
The thing is with Shane, yeah, Shane's one of these edgy. He tries to, when it comes to race conversations, Shane likes to be edgy. Like he likes to look at like racism in a different way and be like, nah, but who cares if it's racist and blah, 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 blah. Do you know what I'm saying? So obviously we've got to talk about Abby Summers. I'm going to say we were torn about whether to talk about it, but I think that our fan base was asking us on stream to talk about
on Saturday, innit?
Yeah.
On Saturday.
They would expect that we talk about this. So
she's come out with a public apology.
You hadn't seen the tweets, first of all.
Yeah.
So there's tweets. It's from years ago. It's a client. We see this all the time. See it with Maya Jammer.
Yeah,
we see it with mad different people.
Bare people. Umar from IFL done it. I think that's why he left IFL.
Yeah, he ain't really a public figure like that. Man, don't even know his face. Like you do, you in the world of boxing, you do, but like he's not known like that. But getting chatted up and asked out by a black boy from the third floor is not the one. She said, really awkward when a black waitress asks what color bread you want. ... White. We need a striker like Africans need starving kids. She said. That was all stuff around like kind of black people and African people. Then there's other tweets around like more Zionism, which obviously with the war and everything, it's a big hot topic at the moment. I feel
What did she say?
I'm about to interrupted me reading it to read it. There's other silly tweets like I think it's even funnier just because she's.
Are you gonna read a Ross tweet or not?
Someone said this. I've just googled Abby Summers tweets, so some of these are not like Jewish. They're all mishmash, yeah. But like, there's a tweet here that says like, "Thanks for the half-hearted compliment. Although I don't know what peak means. I'm not from the ghetto." Just silly. I'm trying to find the ones about the Israelis. I'm trying to find it. I can't even find it.
So she might not even have said anything.
No, I've seen them before, but I can't remember.
I haven't seen none of this, by the way, because I don't really.
Yeah, Shane don't really follow social media.
I don't have Twitter. I don't really do none of the social media things. So.
She said, if Corbyn was to become leader of Britain, the place I consider my home, I would no longer feel that I'm protected and safe. I would rather go and fight for Israel, the place that will always be home to me, despite where I'm born. There's some other stuff as well.
Cool.
But yeah.
Can I just say,
go on.
You haven't said one thing other than the African comment, which, to be fair, I would have said that, and if I said that, that's flipping funny. That African comment
you
is
saying
hilarious.
it and her saying it, two different things.
Of course, but that's funny. Like I actually would have. That's something that I would have said. But I can't. The thing is, yeah, I can't condone behavior that you're not condoning. Do you get what I'm saying? When I mean you're not condoning, not you, I mean Abby.
Oh, I was thinking.
Abby hasn't stood on a gangster, bro. If you said something, you gotta stand on it, bro. Like for me, I respect. Let's say you have a Hitler and you have a another racist person, yeah?
Okay, yeah, go on.
I would respect Hitler more than the racist person behind my back. I don't like you, but I respect you more because you're going to tell me to my face. I don't like when people are racist, but then do public apologies. Yeah. Bro, just stand on your gangster, bro. Just literally stand on it. Like, could you imagine being a slave getting whipped, yeah? And then a slave master comes to you, I didn't mean it. Bro, don't whip me, my G. Why would you write it in the first place? Why would you write those comments in the first place if it's deep rooted in your head? And then she said, oh, she was ignorant and young. Bro, that's a load of shit, fam. That is a load of shit, bro. Because if those comments were calculated enough, bro.
Do you want to hear the apology?
You're going to read it.
So the apology says, and I kind of agree with shit. Obviously, we're in a world where social media, one of the reasons I don't like doing social media, and one of the reasons I don't like the UK social media scene, yeah, is like, I feel like if I do social media in a big way, and I'm friends with people that's rappers or whatever, if someone releases a song I think is trash, I feel like I'm not allowed to say I think that song is trash. It's almost outside of the drill guys that have got real street beef that comes into the music industry. The industry itself is so popular. Me and Shane had a conversation before about why UK boxing isn't as great as American boxing, why UK film and music isn't as great. Part of it is money. America's very rich, but part of it is that I feel like we lower the standards because we look at it like it's our brethren that's doing it. And actually, if AJ Chasey releases a song, or if Getz releases a song, or if Giggs' son's rapping, I thought Giggs' son's music was kind of trash. You're not allowed to say that. You just everyone has to be extra happy and jovial and friendly. Facts. And to take that one step further, if you do believe certain, I don't know if she believes the things that she said or not. It's social media, people say things I don't know. But if you do believe it, what me and Shane are saying is that we'd rather you just believed it and said you believed it. We could have a conversation. We can have a conversation. Yo, I believe...
Tommy Robinson.
Yeah, I believe, blah, blah. We've seen Young Spray sit down with Tommy Robinson. We've seen Akala debate Tommy Robinson. Do you mean like, I believe in the free market.
Facts.
Yeah, I believe in the free market. So what I don't like about this country, yeah, is that if I experience a lot of racism in this country, lots of English people or white people tell me the country's not racist, you've just been unlucky. You've experienced a lot of racist people and it's unfortunate. But if these racist people would just come out, and we will never know how much the country's really racist, because it's really a secret. Like the
moment someone ever expresses racism or says anything racist, instantly it's a case of, you know what, just apologize, brush it under the carpet. So it's actually not magnified.
And I reserve the right not to accept someone's apology, by the way. Like what should normally happen is, okay, cool, you got a white baker who doesn't like black people, and then you got a black baker who doesn't like white people, and all the black people can go to the black baker, and all the white people can go to the white baker, and then the white baker can make their money, the black baker can make their money, and that's just what it is. There's no point, like, our social media thing might never hit 10 million subscribers, but we're only going to talk what's real. Man's not going to sit here and talk what's not real in the hope of getting more subscribers. That's dead. The only thing that's weird to me about this stuff is that she's on a show with so many black people.
Facts.
That's the only thing that's weird to me. And I've said before that when
but this you brought up a good point. You brought up a good point. She's on a show with bare black people. In fact, I don't want to go there, but like
I don't know where you're going.
Nick, like remember our experience, and we had a show with bare black people, then all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, is it by design, bro? Do you know what I'm saying? Are we looking at a media plant right now?
No, listen, from a production perspective, it might be deliberate. We need somebody who's white to balance out the colour of the panel. We need someone who's a woman to balance out the gender of the panel. I understand that. I'm not talking about production. I'm talking about her. Because if I don't like white women...
Which ain't there.
if I don't like white women, just because there's a show of all white women and they need a black man, I might choose not to go over there.
Yeah, facts.
You would choose not to. You're a better example, because I would be over there. But you would choose not to go over there. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if there was a club, if we're walking down the street, we go to Miami, and there's a club all full of white women, and the big glass window, all white gal, and then there's a club over there, all black gal, and the guy said to the promoter of the club with the white gal, said to you, yo, I'll give you a table and free drinks if you come into this club.
And
you'd be like, no. But if it's the white gal club, you'd be like, no, I don't want to be in there. So if you feel a certain way towards black people, you still, okay, I understand production wanting a white woman to be on there, but she, as an individual, as a human, would still have to choose to go on there.
I do think, obviously, a lot of the comments are juvenile, but I feel like you have to understand, if, like, when you say...
She was about 19, 20 at this time as well. She wasn't a child.
Yeah, true.
It's an adult.
Like, because for me...
Because you know what it is when I see these racist tweets? For me, what it is you obviously, one, felt comfortable enough to say these things. But
Facts.
two...
That's what I was going to say.
You were around a community of people... that you felt were going to laugh
was
along
palatable.
with you.
It's palatable for them.
For you. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's not just like you've said something and people are going, oh my God, Shane, what the hell? Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
what? And this, because she apologized and she said it was her when she was younger.
Should I read the apology?
Yeah, and then I want to react straight away.
I want to deeply apologize for the hurtful and offensive... This is Abby, by the way.
By the way, she didn't even type this.
By the way, this is Abby. This ain't me. Because I don't apologize for nothing. So if you ever see an apology from me, someone's got a gun to it because it weren't
AI
me.
or something.
It weren't me. I want to deeply apologize for the hurtful and offensive things I have said in the past. This is not who I am as a person, and I wish that I never said those things. I was young, ignorant, and lacked the understanding I have now, but that doesn't excuse my words. I'm truly sorry for any pain I've caused. I hope those who know me know my character enough to understand how shocked and ashamed I am. I'm
shocked?
Sorry. That's what I thought. Shocked is your words. I don't know why you're shocked.
How are you shocked by your own words, man?
Said, you know what I'm saying? I don't know.
I can't believe it.
Yeah. I am so sorry from the bottom of my heart, and I will continue to conduct myself in a way that I expect of others with respect, integrity, and a commitment to doing better.
Can I just say something? What happened, because you're saying this is no longer you. What happened in your life for you to become what you are today?
This is why I really rate... Do you remember Liam Neeson?
Yeah, of course.
Remember his racism?
Bro, I respect that.
I really rated Liam Neeson's
Facts.
thing.
Me as well.
He talked about a friend of his that was sexually assaulted. I wasn't going to say that.
Sorry, that got great.
They got sexually assaulted. And he said, brother, all she said was it was a black man. And I was looking to just cave a black man's head in. And I was like, bro, for me as a man, yeah, I can understand where you're coming from.
Facts.
Because I have walked down the street in Hounslow and had someone shout N-word at me and throw a glass bottle, and I just wanted to lick down a white man.
Trust me.
I understood from a man I'm not racist towards white people. Liam Neeson's not racist towards black people. But we had a conversation where I understand
that, bro. I can 1,000,000% understand that. But what I don't understand is, because for me, the only thing that we've publicly seen is you've gone from saying racist comments to being on a platform with bare black people, and now you're apologizing for it. Is it because you're getting paid why you've become a different person? What's happened in your life? Is it because you found a black man and obviously he might have done a thing to you that you made? Oh, maybe black people are human after all. I don't know literally what happened to you that made you change your mind? Because you're saying you're in your 20s, so it couldn't have been that long. You're an adult. What happened? What changed within your life that meant you went from being a racist person or a person who had racist opinions and was in an environment
or thought that racist jokes were funny or whatever the case may be,
to then be, you know what, that's wrong.
And you're from London, right? She's from London, I'm sure.
I don't know her, bro.
I'm assuming she's... I don't know.
You know her. Bro, do you not know her? Have you not met her? I've never been in the same room as this woman.
I've never had a conversation with her.
Okay, but...
I've been in the same room.
Okay.
I've never had a conversation with her.
Cool.
Okay.
But
I'm just thinking the person. This is somebody that supports a London club.
Can I ask a question?
Oh my days.
And this question we might have to get cancelled after this. Because
go on.
I know you still go on AFTV. You want me to ask the question?
Yeah, go on.
What is Robbie gonna do?
I don't know. Her comments are off on all her Instagram posts. Loads of the tweets have obviously.
Is Robbie gonna make a public statement? Because he made a public statement for when Claude made a racist comment about Son, because Claude said he's probably going to sell a DVD.
I didn't know he said that. I didn't know he said that.
By the way, yeah.
I did this before my... I didn't know he said that.
That racist joke that she said about we need a striker more than African kids need food, that's flipping funny.
I know, mad fat Africans. I don't even know where this...
That's why, yeah. When white people say about Africa, like they actually haven't been Africa. Like Africans actually have paper. Africans. Like the richest black people in the world are African. Just to let people know that. Like some of the richest black people in the world are African.
You can't speak logic to racist people.
But it's funny. That is actually funny. Like the Claude comment is actually funny.
Yeah.
But what is Robbie gonna do? Like I love racist jokes, so I don't mind getting cancelled still.
I don't know what Robbie's gonna do.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. You know, I don't know. I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? How valuable is this person to the overall show? What kind of, and also not just Robbie, but like she's on TalkSport. She's on like she does like a lot of big things.
Can I ask another question? And this is gonna get us in real trouble.
Oh fuck it!
If she wasn't blonde and she wasn't white,
yeah.
Do you think the backlash would have been the same?
What do you mean?
If she wasn't of a certain persuasion, do you think she would have got this?
No, but you know what it is, yeah, people always say this, innit? Because I've been asked by white people, like, why can you say the N-word and I can't, yeah? And first one, I'm like, bro, that's obviously a dumb question. But bro, all words have context in it. So it always depends on who you are. It always depends on who you are. Do you know what I'm saying?
But like, I'm talking about the lack of because let's say she's on DR Sports next week.
I listen, you're asking me questions I don't know the answer to. But if like we're gonna do a podcast soon with my boy Ricky. Ricky's white.
Yeah? And I'm so glad.
And we're sitting down
bantering together. We needed a white man to balance out there.
If Ricky had his own show where he sat in a room on his own and there were no black people around him and he made a racist joke, people would feel differently to if, say, Don Strapsy made a racist joke. The same joke. Because Don Strapsy's with bare black man. Like so it feels different. It feels totally different. If she said the same joke now, people might respond differently because she's around black people. She obviously is saying that joke with the feeling
but you know what is
that maybe Flex or Robbie or whoever's going to laugh.
It's different though. You know why it's different? Because you know the hypocrisy. I just realized.
What?
Didn't she come out and defend Flex when Flex was racially abused outside of the United game? I'm pretty sure when Flex was racially abused outside the United game, she came to his defense.
Enough of our viewers are either white or English, yeah? And you know what I'm saying? Mad love and respect to all of them. I've got mad brethren that's white, mad brethren that's English.
You sound like a black man. I got my next door neighbour's black. White man that...
But what I'm saying is like, I can't ever speak to a next man's motivation. Do you know what I'm saying? Well, I don't know what was in her heart when she defended Flex. I don't know what was in her heart when she sent the tweets. I don't know if it's fake. I don't know if it's a job. I don't know. Like, I actually do not know, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? I'd love to interview her and find out.
That's why I'm so... I wouldn't want to love to interview her now, though. I would if she was still a racist and still... and still saying these
racist... She was still a racist.
And she was still saying them racist comments and she stood that, I would interview her tomorrow. Because I love that, bro. I love that stuff, bro. You know me.
We should do that on our second channel.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
Tommy Robinson just got out of jail. We'll chat to him.
Yeah, right on, bro. Because for me, I'm not even on a Young Spray thing.
No. We're far more educated than Young Spray.
But on a case of like, bro, just stand on your gangster, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I look at it, bro. But yeah, that's the show, man.
Yeah, that's it, man. Do you know what I'm saying? What's the headline news? Callum Smith versus Benavidez announced. We think that Devin Haney is going to be fighting Teofimo Lopez pretty soon. Boots is moving up to 154. Hopefully we see him fighting Virgil Ortiz. United going hard on their attack. What does that mean for United? Can they get back into European football? Can they get back to Champions League? Is Champions League probably one step too far? Maybe Champions League's one step too far for one season, but let's see what happens. Is Abby Summers a racist? Who knows? UCL final, who wins it, bruv? Could Dembele snatch the Ballon d'Or from Rafinha and Yamal and them, man? Do you know what I'm saying? So that's it. Episode 11, we're done. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're out. See you guys next week.